Grand Rising, Grand Arrival, Grand Return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and repentant alike. I'm Chief Sophia of the MariKaNa Band of Indians, and you're tuned into Don't Miss It Weekly Roundup, where we go through the headline news for each day, rapid fire. I try not to delineate too much, but we do delineate on our weekly podcast, where the link is in the description, where we go into more details on the news for the day, and even into some of the executive actions and other things and documents that are going on. So let's get started. Last week was really too long and it took forever to upload, so we're going to try and move a little bit faster this week. So this is for the week of March 10th through March 16th, 2025. So this is March 10th, 2025, Monday. U.S. is the center of world politics. This should be obvious, right? Doge to publicly post grant payments. So whenever payments are made, they're going to publicly post them so people can check them out. Bondi and Cash won't allow bureaucrats to sabotage Trump like first term. So even though they're horrible at their jobs, they're not allowing the internal politics to slow Trump down, which is, they can be given some credit for that. According to Ray Pete, aspirin helps to stop cancer spread. This is something that is coming out again. I guess he knew it way back when, and now it's coming back out. Rubio cancels 83% of USAID programs after the review. Syria stops killing Alawites and Christians, which again, this started last week and was like really questionable if it was even really happening. So now they've announced that they're stopping. School choice erases advantages of wealth. That comes from a Twitter user, which I think is correct. I would cast Aldous Hodge as Solomon and Coco Jones as the Queen of Sheba because they would be the most correct ones. BLM Plaza is in DC is being dismantled today. Byron Donalds has a 20-point lead in the Florida primary. Nvidia is down 28% since the election. Of course, that's a scam company, by the way. Trans women are mad that black women aren't allies. CBP One app is repurposed as CBP Home app for deportations. DOT drops some Uncle Sam air traffic control ads where they're specifically highlighting that you don't have to have a college degree, you can get paid really well, free training and all of that stuff. So if you have young people that are getting ready to graduate or maybe never got a good start, consider air traffic controller, okay, if they have the right temperament for that, okay? Centuries-old bog butter is found in Ireland. That's really fascinating. Zelensky sends apology letter to Trump. Of course he does. The Clean CR allows Doge to keep impounding money. LA Mayor Bass didn't keep her text messages as required by law, of course. PG County Police pursuit ends in a deadly crash. This is why in PG County, they're not authorized to do car pursuits because it always ends up in a crash. These are not, never mind. Wendy Williams is taken to a hospital after help note is thrown out of the window. Citric acid is made from black mold, so it's much better to just use lemon juice than citric acid, obviously. Eric Schmidt steps in as Relativity CEO. Relativity is a space company, much like SpaceX. And this is also significant because Eric Schmidt has not been seen publicly. He has not made public comment. He was the former head of Google, and then something happened with China, and he hasn't been seen. So now he's sort of back. DNI Tulsi Gabbard confirms security clearances are revoked. And the press for a bunch of different people, and the daily press briefing is not being given to Biden. The Freedom Caucus backs the Clean CR. Continuing resolution, which is the actual budget that will go from now until September. Kennedy eats tallow fries from Steak and Shake, which is cool. Beyonce concert tour is not selling tickets in the UK. It's not. And EU Ursula von der Leyen, she announces that they're going to do a bail-in. Basically, they're going to take the money from people who have deposits in bank and use it to help other people. It's called a bail-in, and that's what they're getting ready to do in the EU. All right, so Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. Elon's kids are sex-selective IVF. Okay, I mean, you can do sex-selective kids without IVF. People just don't know anything. And so I guess some people are upset. I don't know. The Chios mastic season begins. Of course, we hope that our family and friends in Chios are Chios is in Greece. They use they're the ones that collect all the mastic. That's the real gum. You can get some from Greco gum. That's where I order mine from, and it doesn't have any taste or flavor or anything like that, but it does chew very well. It's good for your teeth and stuff like that. So mastic season begins, and we need our mastic to come in well. So good luck to those people out there. Trump retaliates on Ontario energy tariff. So basically, the premier of Ontario says that he's going to tariff the electricity coming into America at 25%, and then Trump retaliates as a 100% tariff on aluminum and steel and something else that's going to come into America from Canada. Okay. California Darren copies Scott Presler model. So there's a guy out in California who says he's going to be the California Scott Presler. So good luck to him. I hope he's serious, okay? The suspect for the little Ronnie and his daughter shooting leaves the ID in the car. So even if the hood wasn't calling in all the tips and tracking them down, these were some very unsmart criminals, okay? GNX is back at number 1 with 90.5 thousand units sold. Broadway Othello, starring Denzel Washington, breaks records. The Mayflower Compact and 10 Commandments have the same gematria value. Massey, Thomas Massey. Right, yeah, Thomas Massey. He's connected to Christina Pershaw, and Christina Pershaw is related to Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is this whole thing with these weird people. So basically, the same weird people who are trying to get Ron DeSantis to be president, even though he's super weird. He's fine as governor because it's a much smaller group of people he's be dealing with. But as president, absolutely not. So Massey is tied to them same group of people. Only black-owned labels are doing artist development. That's unfortunate, but it is true. You got to go to these white labels fully formed, which is not fair. Federal judge attacking Doge has spousal conflict of interest, which we're going to find out is true for all of these judges. They all have spousal family member conflict of interest. They don't recuse themselves. They don't do anything that they're supposed to do. It's really horrible, and it's literally a constitutional crisis, even this far back. But that's going to really continue to advance. It's a constitutional crisis. All right, according to Trueflation, inflation has dropped like 100%. Secure DC laws being ignored, of course. Canadians over 30 days are going to have, staying in America over 30 days will have to register. So no more of this, I'm a Canadian, I'm coming to America, and I'm just going to, stay as long as I want. No, we're ending that relationship. Israel and Lebanon have security talks. Ukraine, 30-day peace talks to resume funding. So Ukraine agrees to 30 days of peace talks to resume their funding. The Ontario premier backs down on the tax because of the disproportionate thing that Trump is going to do to Canada. Generic pharma market Oh, generic pharma market was rigged by one woman. One woman rigged the whole generic pharma market, and this is why it's drugs all cost so much. And there's basically no generic drugs being approved because one black woman rigged the whole market. Okay. What is this word? Astanaxin, or sea, which is in sea vegetables, helps to heal eyes. I don't know. I could not read that word. Maui police chief is listed in the Diddy case. Department of Education reduces workforce by 50%. Wendy Williams is deemed mentally competent, which is great. So free Wendy. She's going to get from out of that mess that they put her in. A Chinese spy ring was at Washington's started 10 months into the Biden administration. And I think I couldn't tell whether it was Washington, D.C. or Washington State. But because it's Chinese, it's probably Washington State. But the spy ring started 10 months after Biden came in office. There's an Emmett Till statue revealed in Mississippi, which is good. And before civil rights, there were only blacks and whites. There was no Hispanics, Asians. You were either black or you were white. And that's literally all there was. All right, Wednesday, March the 12th, 2025. We're doing pretty good on time. Boomers believe white coats. Zoomers believe Joe Rogan. Whatever that is, I'm glad my group is not on there. We don't believe either, okay? Funding cut to Maine over trans athletes. So that governor of Maine is going to find out. Irish media is in an uproar over trans denier. Irish media is in an uproar over trans denier Burke coming to the White House with the Tayac Mihail Martin. I hope I said Tayac Mihail Martin comes to the White House. Tayac. Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah, Tayac. Yeah, Tayac. That's today. So the Irish media is in an uproar, okay? We get to that a little bit later. DC housing market continues surge in listings. German intelligence lied about COVID origins. That comes out. FCC launches deregulation initiative. Super Sentai on the timeline. Of course, Super Sentai is where Power Rangers comes from. And one of my students had told me about it a few weeks ago, and I was supposed to look into it. So somebody on the timeline mentions it. So they have like 80 seasons. It's like the longest running show. Very interesting. Zeldin announces EPA deregulations. Oh, that's the FCC too. Tayac, and it's spelled Tioseach. Tayac. And his name is Michael Martin. He comes to the White House for a brunch. I don't think it's at the White House, but it might be. I don't know where it is, but he comes to the White House for a brunch. Cat Williams made Shannon Sharpe interesting. People have been looking for another Shannon Sharpe show to be interesting, and it hasn't happened yet. Perkins Coy's security clearances are revoked. Doge suggests two-factor authorization to prevent Social Security fraud. Nvidia is up 6%. Now, this is a fraudulent company now. Now they're back up 6%. Okay. Casino death, mother charge. So the woman who left her kids in the car and went into the casino and then got on the internet and complained that it was really the father's fault, that she didn't have no place to stay, and she made it sound like she was outside of the casino, but she was really inside the casino partying. She gets arrested for murder. Okay. Schumer shutdown is coming because now the messaging is Schumer's the one causing the shutdown, because they have to have 6 on a continuing resolution. They have to have 60 votes in order to pass it. It's not the regular 50-50. It's 60 votes. State Farm releases their Super Bowl commercial, which they didn't release at the time of the Super Bowl because the fires were still going on and the PR was really bad. So, homemade explosive device found in PG storage, which is on the backup route for the president to go to Andrews. So that's why that's significant. Huge response to that. Saturn, 128 new moons are discovered around Saturn, bringing the total moons Saturn has to 274. Girl Scout cookies have 100% heavy metals and pesticides. 100% of samples. SSA uses, Social Security Administration uses 1950s COBOL code, which is the oldest code you've ever seen. South Dakota bans state funds for lab-grown meats. Trump buys a Tesla at full price. They pull a bunch of them up in front of the White House. Green flames come from a manhole at Texas Tech. Lilo and Stitch live action gets mixed reviews. They just released the preview. And Michelle Obama's podcast flops. All right, so Thursday, March the 13th, 2025. This is a full moon. Start of the full moon is late tonight into early tomorrow. All right, so I discovered that times and a half is 33, and that'll be on my spiritual channel, okay? Donatella Versace steps down as the head of Versace. In Baltimore, a small child is beat by a mob. Crazy. Medi-Cal requests $3.4 billion loan to pay for all the illegals on their rolls. Normani and DK Metcalf get engaged. Congratulations. Schumer decides he's going to vote in favor of the continuing resolution. So the Schumer shutdown is averted. FDA is going to eliminate GRAS, which is generally... it's like a generally acceptable review of ingredients. Like they could just, a company could just say, oh yeah, all these ingredients, okay, we did the safety checks on them, and there's no check, so they're going to get rid of that. India, NH Congress Party wants Purge Day due to violence on women. Very important to mention that. Trump talks Biden auto pen at meeting with the NATO secretary. Dem posting TDS after death. So a Democrat is dead, okay? A Congress person is dead, and he's still posting anti-Trump stuff from the grave, I guess. Billions of copies of DNA in the jab, which they lied about. SecDef restructures Office of Net Assessment, the most evil office on the planet. You have no idea. Conservative swatting ramps up. And if you don't know what swatting is when some individuals decide they're going to call in a horrific hostage situation to someone, and then all of a sudden a SWAT team shows up at your house. You don't know the SWAT team is coming. And basically most of these things end up with someone dead. So that's what swatting is, and it starts to ramp up. Do Dem congressmen have direct access to X? Like, are they the ones posting? Because after this dead guy post, people are starting to say maybe they don't even have access to their X accounts. Fetterman says Dems iced out of leverage, meaning the leverage was really in the House, and they got iced out because in the House you only need a simple majority to pass a CR, but it's the Senate you need 60 votes. So if they don't get what they want in the House, they can't really do anything by the time it gets to Senate. So that's a big secret they leak. Citadel stopped out numerous large trades, and if you don't know what being stopped out of a trade means, whoo boy. Oh, a boy calls the police on mom for eating the ice cream. Oh my gosh, so cute. But dad, like, don't call the police, please, on your mama for eating the ice cream. India decides it's going to leave BRICS. Favre to repay Mississippi welfare funds, which is good. All right, Friday, March the 14th, 2025. There's a full blood moon and aurora views. The pictures are beautiful. And it's eclipse. Full blood moon, lunar eclipse, and there's auroras that can be seen. All right. Tim Cook is ruining Apple. It's obvious. FBI takes over swatting investigations, which is good. Ovaries set the pace for aging in women, which is why if you can have a child after 40, you should. Haitian has a spiritual attack while flying into Miami-Dade Airport. That's a crazy story. Crazy Art expands U.S. market due to tariffs. Jonathan Majors is on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter. Non-citizen spouse, no right to America. That's true. If a non-citizen does not have a right to America. Ed Martin to vacate Luevo versus OPM, and this is about merit-based hiring. High purity gold removed from Fort Knox in 1967, which of course, what's his face? That old guy. I don't see his name on here. But these people should know that. There's no way they didn't know that it was removed. It's literally, the notes are there. JD Vance says Dem govs are begging for economic development, and this is implying Governor Whitmer of Michigan, who was just at the White House the day before. Okay, today is Holly as well. Holly is celebrated today. H2A temp visa program seasonal is still going. Egg prices crashed to $4.15. Now remember, they were $9, $10, $12, $14. Now the average price is $4.15. Senate passes stopgap funding bill, the CR. Federal Maritime Commission launches investigation into global maritime checkpoints. Rubio revokes South African ambassador. SpaceX launches their rescue mission. FBI listened to phone calls with Trump and Pence, which is illegal. Trump and Putin convo to end war is going to happen next week. NATO secretary says Ukraine is not joining NATO. That, he came to the White House yesterday. So Trump's speech to the DOJ about abuses, he lambasted them for 2 hours about all their abuses. The United States Secret Service is paying for former officials' travel. Why? Pooh Shiesty is released. He has 30 days in a halfway house, and then he'll be home. The cadence of new rap is unnatural. I point that out. Viral video of a four-stripe black woman pilot who was calm as a cucumber. All right. Moon is masculine in Old English. And Playboi Carti drops a new album. And don't ask me who Playboi Carti is. I don't know, but it seems important. All right, so Saturday, March 15th, 2025. This is the 10-year anniversary of To Pimp a Butterfly. Trump orders military attack on Houthis. Tornadoes across the Black Belt, same as the total lunar eclipse last year. Pharmacy benefit managers are basically sealing Medicare and Medicaid funds with the prices on drugs. Joe Collins, who was suing, he ran against Maxine Waters, and he has this open court case against her for fraud. Basically says that CAGOP needs new leadership. Like, everybody needs to go. Carney, who is the new prime minister for Canada, he says Canada is rooted in British heritage, even though they speak French, so this is a whole thing. Venice, Italy is built on wood. It's fascinating if you look it up. JT meets with Rick Owens and Michelle Lamy, and Michelle Lamy cannot function without black women energy, by the way. Voice of America suspends all activities. United Airlines government travel is down 50%. Their numbers are down 50%. Tyler Perry speaks on treatment by the industry of at Angie Stone's funeral. So, of course, right message, wrong messenger. Because what do you talking about Angie Stone? What about Monique? Anyway, Maryland wants to cancel police immigration enforcement, which is crazy. I'm going to name my son Scott after Scott Pressler, who's doing a great job. Fort Washington man is arrested for killing his father, and of course that's where I'm from. Judge Boasberg orders planes to come back. We'll come back to that in a minute. Trump rescinds 19 Biden orders. A new Sun Ra album comes out. Macron and Zelensky reenact Brokeback Mountain. NGOs funding unlistened to podcasts. Lightning strikes the Bank of America building in Georgia. And so this is where the judge thing comes in. 276 MS-13 and Tren de Agua members are sent to CECOT jail in El Salvador. That's why Judge Boasberg ordered the planes to come back, which is pretty crazy. And conservatives continue to get swatted. It's really bad. All right, March the 16th, 2025. The Dragon capsule successfully docks at ISS. I discover Boots on the Ground, which is a line dance, fabulous line dance. Huntsman on Twitter points out Trump is more nimble than the Dems. They can't catch up. All right. Dem favorability is at 29%. Trump posts an autopin meme about Biden, basically saying he was the autopin president. New York Times acknowledges COVID conspiracy after 5 years. Hungary, the country cuts taxes. Grassley, that's what I was talking about. He said he was there when they went to Fort Knox and he's seen the gold. Well, he comes out against the judges. Sorry. Miller, which is one of Trump's assistants, orchestrated the Trinidad flights. A French lawmaker asked for the Statue of Liberty back and give it back to them. It's a curse unto us anyway. Give it to them. Please come and take it immediately. All right. I just looked into that a little bit. They should take it. All right. And there is a fireball meteor over Pakistan. And remember, in Pakistan, that's where they was helping out that poor lady who was having a severe mental crisis. So they got a meteor over them, which we'll see if it's good or it's bad. So if you enjoy this type of content, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Share it with your friends. Remember to join us for our long format. Although this is kind of long, we go into more details for the whole week of these stories, and we get some more background and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that kind of content, please join us over on our YouTube channel for the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Don't Miss It headline news. Peace and blessings, and we'll see you in the next video.